In my youthful days as a pastor, I subscribed to the idea of resurrection from physical death. But in the back of my mind, I had niggling doubts about the idea of dead people returning from the grave. That's despite my reminding my congregation that God could do anything. At funerals, I sermonized the words of Jesus. I'm the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will never die. As a graduate psychology student, I had listened with interest as my mentor, Dr. Lee Travis, held to the theory that our consciousness is separate from the physical brain and survives death. Later in life, I delved into the study of near-death experiences, NDEs, in which individuals who had returned from the brink of death spoke convincingly about life beyond the veil. These accounts, along with ancient stories from Jewish, Egyptian, and Mesopotamian traditions, which closely mirrored modern NDEs, began to shift my perspective. But despite hints from the world beyond our physical senses, I was not entirely persuaded. That was until my white crow moment, like William James. I too was in search of that one compelling piece of evidence that would serve as my final proof of the soul's continuation after death. It was a journey of personal discovery and validation. My friend's husband had Parkinson's and later Lewy body disease. When he began to show signs of Lewy body dementia and increased anxiety at home, my friend washed and massaged his feet every night for about 30 minutes before they went to bed to calm him. She said she massaged his feet for 3 years, starting in 2021 until he died in 2024. Eventually, when he was hospitalized and then placed in hospice, she always rubbed his feet with lotion to help him relax. My friend's husband would not talk about dying. He was terrified. So after he passed, she said, I was not with him when he died. I felt sad and unsettled because I did not know if he had made peace with his life ending. Shortly after his death, she was volunteering at a food line in our village. Her task was to hand out flyers to each driver advertising a meeting to discuss a device her science group had developed to help patients with Parkinson's disease steady their hands. When she handed her the flyer about the Parkinson's meeting, one driver said, I just had a very friend die of Parkinson's. My friend replied, I'm sorry. My husband had Parkinson's. He died recently. A moment went by, and the driver sat up straight. She stared through the windshield and said, he's talking to me. He says he is next to you every night in bed. And he's sorry he was such a burden. He says he's happy you are doing this, the work with the Parkinson's glove. She then turned and looked at my friend and said, I am sensing some skepticism. I replied, yes, well, maybe a little. She turned her head and stared through the windshield again, and looking startled, she said, oh, he just kissed my cheek to thank me for talking to you. My friend said that caught her attention because her husband would always kiss someone on the cheek as a greeting or when saying goodbye. Then the driver said, now he is showing me his feet. Why is he showing me his feet? The unexpected encounter caught my friend off guard. She found it liberating, as it provided her with a sense of closure and peace. How could a total stranger be party to such a private memory? And where did this woman with medium abilities appear from? My friend concluded that her deceased husband was there in spirit, had been listening to the conversation all the time, and had pushed through the veil with unassailable evidence. There was no other plausible explanation for her experience. In that moment, she became a believer. Her story inspired us with a new sense of the possibility of life after death. Beyond explanation, can I explain this newfound experience of connection with those beyond the veil? Not in the least. It's pure mystery to me, but I still believe every word of my friend's experience. I love the words of scientist/mystic Cheryl Page, who writes, Only when we are willing to abandon the rationale does life flow in like a tidal wave, bearing us away from this hole of time into the depths of true mystical experience. How do you surrender to the mystery of existence beyond physical death? And how do you become convinced that there are no departed loved ones? They are all with us right now. The adventure of faith never stops. It's an ongoing journey where we stumble our way towards knowing, not guessing, finding what is and holding fast to it, believing without seeing with our physical eyes, and being tuned into another frequency where we can experience a faith connection with the spirit world, a connection that transcends the limitations of our bodily senses and allows us to perceive the spiritual reality that surrounds us.